So, can Josh Allen have another MVP type season? Are the Eagles, could the Eagles break a long standing curse? And what about our teams? The Giants and the Cowboys. How are we going to be looking at this week or this year? Well, we're going to find the answers to those questions and a lot more as we get you ready for the third of our 4 week series of divisional previews. We are heading east tonight. And we're going to be taking a look at those 8 teams here on Fantasy Football Fever, which starts right. Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. It is Friday night, June 20th, 2025. Wherever, however, and whenever you're watching, thanks for making this part of your week. My name, of course, is Tim McClellan. I'm joined by my two partners in crime on this very show. We have the host of Hooked on Sports, Mr. John Flynn, once again heading back to his homestead somewhere in the Empire State. How you doing, Flynn?
I'm doing good, Timmy. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay here, and of course, this guy down here is our league commissioner, Mr. John Natali, back with us this week. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, doing good. I'm excited to talk about our favorite division.
Yes, as I said, this is our East previews for our divisions, which means we'll be talking about the AFC East. And as I mentioned to these guys right before we went on the air, we'll be talking about the NFC East, and I have been waiting for this show because we get to talk about our teams. We're going to see how they're going to do this year. So, without further ado, of course, as always, we get started with some headlines in the NFL. We do that by opening the Hot Topics box, so to speak. Well, anyway, first big story come out this week. The former Green Bay Packers star Jair Alexander just signed a 1 year deal with the Baltimore Ravens this past Wednesday. It's a 1 year deal with a maximum of $6 million, which includes $2 million in incentives. Sources told ESPN Adam Schefter. So, and it also reunites him with his teammate in Louisville, the quarterback for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson. So, with this bit of news happening, I guess kind of bolsters up the Ravens defense just a little bit. Flynn, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the Ravens roster. I mean, okay, I think that there is one thing you can pinpoint as maybe an area of weakness that you'd probably be the depth of their secondary. And I think especially the cornerback position, because I think you really could have used someone to play opposite of Brandon Stevens during the offseason. And then when Jair Alexander became a cap casualty, so that opened up the door for somebody for a team, a contender that needed some help in the secondary, and a team like the Baltimore Ravens made a lot of sense. Because I think the Ravens, when you look at their defense, I feel better about the Ravens now than I did the week before. And I think you look at the grand scope of how Baltimore is coached, and and you have to be very encouraged there about the Baltimore Ravens.
So it looks like old Jim Harbaugh is going to probably have another great corner to add to that defensive secondary in Baltimore there. So, Natalie, Jair Alexander to the Ravens. Sounds good?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, you can never have too many pieces on defense. Yeah, defense wins games. So there you have it.
Well, you just made an interesting statement right there that I will allude to a little bit later on in the show. Also, I think it was either earlier today or yesterday. It looks like Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shador Sanders is getting a lot of attention, but for the wrong reasons. He was just cited doing over 100 miles an hour down the highway, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, according to sources, this has actually been the second time he's done this this month. Now, the question that they asked this morning over on ESPN's Get Up, they said, is it a big thing or a little thing? Well, I'd say it's a big thing. I mean, you got this young guy. I mean, he hasn't even taken a snap yet. I'm sure he's been in OTAs, but his NFL career has hardly started, and he's already getting into trouble. So, Flynn, I heard you had to put your 2 cents on Shador Sanders.
So I mean, this is the type of behavior that scared 32 general managers away from using their first pick on him because look, and the crazy thing is this comes off a week where there was actually some encouragement from Shador Sanders with the talent he's shown in minicamp, but you can't be you can't be like a clown and run the huddle, because that's one of the great one of the quarterback commandments from Bill Parcells, that you can't have you can't have someone who isn't a true leader run the huddle. You need some stability. You need some mental fortitude, and right now Shador Sanders hasn't shown any of those, and it's kind of disturbing that you thought that that a lesson would be learned by Shador Sanders based upon his catastrophic fall in the draft, but doesn't seem like he really gives a damn right now, and that's and you have to put a lot of this on ownership, because I think owners, after the Browns drafted Dylan Gabriel in the third round, that the ownership forced someone like Shador Sanders on him because of the feeling of them of ticket sales. So it's a hot mess in Cleveland, and it doesn't really surprise me quite frankly, and I think Shador Sanders is going to be out of the league in 3 years.
Oh, kind of like a strong statement there. Out of the league in 3 years. Natalie, your thoughts?
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, kind of have mixed feelings about it right now. I mean, as of right now, it seems to be not too big of a big deal, because I mean, it's unless he was doing an assault on someone, that'd be a completely different story. But I mean, if he doesn't get his act together by the time the season starts, then we're in for bigger problems. Just imagine what's going to happen if he does the same thing during the season. Then that's going to be a really big deal. But yeah, he has to wake up and quit goofing around, because the season is starting soon. And if he behaves this way when the season starts, then there's going to be bigger problems.
Yeah, yeah. I think John Flynn gave me an idea for a new TV show. There was a show many years ago called Hot in Cleveland. I think we should do a new show called Hot Mess in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the Cleveland Browns, they've been a hot mess for for decades and eons now, and just seems like every 15 or 20 years they have that one great season, and then all of a sudden they
Yeah.
revert back to their usual ways. Browns do Browns things, you know.
It's,
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
You just made me think
dysfunctional
about Bottlegate
organization.
just now. You just made me think
what's
about
that?
Bottlegate now. You just made me think about Bottlegate.
Oh, the Battlegate incident. Yeah, I came
Yeah.
across that video on YouTube. Haven't watched it yet, but as soon as we get done with tonight's show, I think I'm going to take a look at that.
Hmm.
So, and I guess that's kind of what led Sam Weiss, God rest his soul, to make that one statement in Cincinnati
Hmm.
when they were throwing stuff on the field there. When he said, "You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati." Boy, that's just. I think you could make a whole situation comedy out of that Cleveland Browns team, but I digress. So, um, I don't think there was pretty much any other big hot topics coming out this
Mm,
week.
the only other thing I can recall is C.J. Mosley retiring.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame how the Jets couldn't keep him healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like the guy here. I'm reading here on ESPN. Missed 13 games last season due to toe and neck injuries and lost his middle linebacker job to Jamie Sherwood. He's signed a 5-year, $85 million contract with the Jets in 2019 after 5 standout seasons with the Ravens. First Baltimore player to be voted to the Pro Bowl as a rookie. Then 3 more Pro Bowl seasons from 2016 to 2018. But yeah, pretty sad that the Jets just kind of couldn't quite hold on to that guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess that's pretty much the hot topics that we have as far as I know. Let me. Oh, we have someone watching us right now. Well,
Alex.
what do you know? It's Alex. Hey, hey, hey.
I mean, if does Alex have the link to the stream because the timing would not have been any better if he did.
You know, I did send the link out to for our Facebook group. Alex, if you got some time on your hands, if you're not too busy, we would love to have you come on the show because we are talking about the AFC East tonight, which of course is your division with those Miami Dolphins. We would love to get your insights. So click on the link that I sent in the group chat on Facebook Messenger and jump right in because we'd love to hear from you. And not just because we're going to be hanging out next month. So, so I guess with that being said, hopefully Alex will pop in here because I'd love to get his thoughts on the Dolphins for this year. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get started with the AFC East. Oh wait a minute, until Putnam gets here, y'all want to start with the NFC East?
Yeah, sure. Why
Oh,
not?
that's actually a great idea.
We're gonna start with our division, the NFC East, and as I said, I have been waiting to do this show for about a month or so. And so with that being said, I am going to go ahead and click on the fantasy rankings for each of our 4 teams in the NFC East, starting with America's team, Dallas Cowboys. And starting with Dak Prescott, who is ranked going into the season, ranked 12th. Now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, these numbers that you see are the rankings for these players in their position, their fantasy rankings. And in about a couple of weeks, about 3 weeks from now, we're going to be starting our series on fantasy rankings, so we'll go more into that when that comes along. But right now, taking a look at the Cowboys, Dak Prescott coming into his 10th season in the league, believe it or not. 10 seasons already. He's ranked number 12 among fantasy quarterbacks. We got two new running backs in the lineup. We have Javonte Williams, ranked number 27, and Jaden Blue at number 57. We have our wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. He's the top 5. He's right there at number 4. We have one of our newest acquisitions, George Pickens, who the Steelers traded to us for a couple of draft picks. He's ranked number 30. And right now at wide receiver 3 is our wide receiver and kick returner, Kevontae Turpin. He's ranked 92 among the wide receivers, but he is definitely one of the best return men in the league. We have our tight end, Jake Ferguson. He's right near the middle, number 15 amongst fantasy tight ends. The Cowboys defense is ranked number 2 among the fantasy list there. And the offensive line is just about a little bit above. I gotta tell you, this offensive line that my Cowboys have is going to be probably the most interesting lines I've ever seen. Well, for one of the reasons is because 3 of the front 5 guys are all named Tyler. They got Tyler Smith, who we drafted 2 years ago. We drafted Tyler Guyton last year. And this year we draft Tyler Booker. So it's going to be very interesting to see if that young offensive line can protect Dak Prescott. So, Lynn, looking at those numbers, any thoughts on the Cowboys?
I think the fact that I think the Cowboys' offensive line is going to be healthy. Looks like they're going to be relatively healthy. I think that's kind of a big deal here when you look at it from Dallas, because you think that things are a little banged up because of injuries in the past, and of course affected Dak Prescott and his ability to stay healthy. So I think with that factor and the addition of George Pickens, because I think George Pickens is one of the more physical receivers in the league, and I think Pickens is better off as a WR2. As a WR2. Since I think you can look at Dak Prescott, if he stays healthy, he could be a top, and I think he will be ranked in the top 10 at the end of the season when it comes to his fantasy ranking.
Sally, your thoughts on the Cowboy lineup there?
Yeah, the receiving core looks pretty strong, but I think right now their running game looks a little bit questionable. But if that offensive line can protect those runners, I think they're going to do just fine.
Yeah, and they also listed Miles Sanders as RB3 on the list because that's a reflection of the depth chart and the addition of Jaden Blue. Now, I think the big question for the Cowboys for fantasy is what are we supposed to make of an ambiguous running back situation? Because I think there is a lot of upside with Javonte Williams because before Williams tore his ACL, he was as good at breaking tackles as any running back in the National Football League. So if he can be able to show that he's back to full strength, and that could be some untapped big explosive playability for Williams. Now is there risk involved in this? Yes, because because of the proximity he's coming off that injury. But so the question with Ben is if Jaden Blue gets an opportunity, is he going to have a season similar to what Chase Brown had last year in Cincinnati? And because some of these ambiguous running back situations tend to favor the younger, faster running back. So we're going to see how the Cowboys utilize this, and we're gonna have some answers. You're going to have to follow them in training camp and the quotables on these guys to see what you think of them.
That's definitely going to be a very interesting season now, of course, well, with a new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, who, of course, has never been a head coach before in the league. He's pretty much been an assistant for over the last 2 decades now. So, interesting to see how Brian does with his boys this year. Now we're going to move over and talk about your team, guys, the New York Football Giants. And it looks like right now the quarterback one is their rookie Jackson Dart, who will enter the season ranked number 31 among the quarterbacks in fantasy. Nice running back core with Tyrone Tracy Jr., a nice young running back who impressed me last year. And they have the rookie that they just drafted this year, Cam Scatterbo. He's 38th among the running backs. Then you have Malik Nabers, who had a pretty impressive rookie season last year. He comes in like number 5 among the wide receivers. Wandale Robinson like 57th, and Darius Slayton, the veteran, is at 71. Tight end Theo Johnson at 27. Giants defense and special teams also in the top 5, ranked number 4. But the offensive line ranked 28th right there. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what old Brian Daboll and the crew has for this year. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys because you guys are the Giants fans. Glenn, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So Jackson Dart. So all these rankings, remember, are from Mike Clay's from ESPN's projection site, which has Dart at 31 because he thinks the Dart's going to start more games this season than Russell Wilson. But I'm going to tell you this, and Eli and Peyton Manning actually made a great point on quarterback situations like this today at Fanatics Fest in New York City. So is that maybe you should go away from rookies starting right away, and I think it's a perfect situation for the Giants when it comes to this, because I think Jackson Dart's going to be a star quarterback. I think he fits a Josh Allen profile, except he's a more polished quarterback. So I think you look at that, but having someone like Russell Wilson who clearly showed throughout during the spring at OTAs, and especially in mandatory minicamp this week, then that he has the best command and of the offense, because his deep ball throwing ability is head and shoulders better than what the Giants ever got out of Daniel Jones. So I do want to, so I think Malik Nabers could have such a big upside, and also maybe could Jalen Hyde, who is not listed on this list, have a big upside as well. That's what I'm looking at from that regard. And similar to Dallas, the Giants do have an ambiguous running back situation. Tyrone Tracy is going to get more of the snaps early on, but I think what the Giants did last year, yeah, they showed restraint, and then once Tyrone Tracy started to deliver and started to take on a good workload and handle it well, that's when he started to see an increased workload. So I think it's going to be Tyrone Tracy to start, and then it's going to be a wait and see on Cam Scatterbook. Of course, could the Giants utilize these two backs similar to what they did with Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs back in the day? I think that is a wait and see on that. But again, the Giants do have a difficult schedule to start because they have Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, and that. But so I think those are the things right there. Of course, Malik Nabers did not participate in mandatory minicamp to try and rest and protect that foot, which was nagging him a little bit, but. But when Malik Nabers has a season like he did last year, and the amount of different quarterbacks that he had, and all the very poor quarterback play, and for him to still finish as a top 10 wide receiver, you have to think the sky's the limit for this guy. So, and then one final thing is the Giants defense / special teams. That they do not have an easy schedule by any means, but fantasypros.com, where I got the defense / special teams rankings from, they have the New York Giants leading the National Football League in sacks this year. So which explains why they're ranked so high. So you think of the amount of depth that's there. You could look at the Giants' defensive line as one of the most impactful units of a defense of any team in the National Football League. When you think of with Dexter Lawrence and Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns, of course. So the amount of depth and talent on that defensive line, I think is something, and which gives some encouragement that the Giants could be better than people think this year. This Natalie?
Yeah. The Giants definitely look a lot better. Just that offensive line definitely needs work. A lot of the injuries have been their downfall lately. I mean, yeah, Andrew Thomas keeps getting injured a lot. Evan Neal gets injured a lot. So yeah, we definitely need healthy seasons from them. That's for sure. Need a healthy season from JMS. They definitely need those players to protect Dart whenever he gets in. I mean, I definitely love the offense here. Tyrone Tracy, Cam Scatterboot could be a very solid 1-2 punch. The receiving core looks fine. Not sure if Slayton really has anything left. He's getting up there in age. I think he should be a bench guy at this point and let Hyatt get more reps. I mean, the defense being at number 4, I totally did not expect that. The defense played beyond expectations. So if they stay healthy, this is going to be another top 5 defense. Just this offense needs some work, especially that offensive line. But I do like that addition of Bell, I believe they got in round 5.
It's Marcus Bowe, the swing tackle from Purdue. They used him with their 5th round pick. And by the way, speaking of where he was ranked, he was taking 10 picks after Shedeur Sanders. In case you're wondering.
Oh wow.
Very, very interesting thoughts on your New York football. Yes.
And also Marcus Bowe, was a consensus top 100 prospect in the draft, and he fell all the way to the Giants in round 5.
Wow. Yeah, that was interesting. Now we'll see what it looks for the Brown Dayball's boys going into this year. Now, of course, we talk about the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions defending their title. The Philadelphia Eagles, or of course, as I
Filthy
affectionately refer
Philadelphia
to them as
chickens.
the Philadelphia Chickens.
All right, let's
So let's
talk
take a
about
look.
let's talk about them chickens.
Yeah, let's talk about those boys. Jalen Hurts, ranked number 2 on the quarterback list in fantasy, with the great Saquon Barkley, ranked number 2 along with the running backs with his backup Will Shipley, ranked number 62. Uh, they have a very darn good receiving core with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jahan Johnson, ranked 829 and 123 respectively. Oh, that's pretty much scattered out there. Their tight end Dallas Goedert comes in ranked 12th among tight ends in fantasy, and you cannot find a better defense and special teams or a better offensive line than the Eagles. They are ranked first in both of those areas. So, your thoughts on the Eagles?
All right, Natalie, start.
Yeah, this team is strong. This team is absolutely lethal. Their ownership, their manager, their GM, they absolutely know what they're doing. They know how to build a team. As much as I hate them, I got to give them a lot of credit. Their ownership, managers, that they definitely know what they're doing. This team is lethal. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to back.
Lynn?
Yeah, so I think a couple of things here. Number one, remember the tush push was not banned, so
Right.
so that's why Jalen Hurts is still an elite fantasy quarterback, and why I think he should be one of the 2 or 3 quarterbacks, one of the first two or three quarterbacks taken in drafts this summer, because Jalen Hurts and him getting behind that offensive line and that tush push has netted him so much in terms of in terms of ability to play at such a high level and produce at such a high level for fantasy standards. However, the big question I think really for Jalen Hurts fantasy owners is that two of the last that in each of the last 3 years that he got banged up a little bit down the stretch of the regular season, and of course this impacted fantasy championships week. I know it did in 2022 when he couldn't go because of the thumb issue, and then I think there was another year where he was a little banged up because of a concussion issue there. So I think that's the only pitfall that you might have to look at for the Philadelphia Eagles. But Saquon Barkley, I think is one of the 2 or 3 guys who 2 or 3 running backs you should consider taking first overall in your fantasy draft. The others, the others, I'm thinking Bijan Robinson and Jameer Gibbs, and if you're really bold, maybe Christian McCaffrey in there as well. But even though Saquon Barkley led the NFL in touches by a running back, and usually a daunting tread line is that if you have if you lead the NFL in rushing attempts per game, so that it could wear off from seasons from season to season, which could inevitably result in a decline. But given that Saquon is so more talented than the rest of them, I don't see that much of a downfall really from Saquon Barkley. I think his floor is the highest, and I think it's the safest of the picks of the top tier running back picks. But yeah, I think that's where I stand on all of that.
So once again, those Eagles going into this season strong than ever with a Super Bowl title to defend. Now we're going to take a look at one of the two teams in the NFC that I feel could be the biggest threats to the Eagles. The other one being the Detroit Lions. But let's talk about this team, the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, what a hot rookie season that boy had. He comes into the fantasy season ranked number 1 among quarterbacks. It's got his running back tandem with Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler, ranked 31 and 35 respectively. Scary Terry McLaurin is ranked 16th among wide receivers, with the former 49er Deebo Samuel at number 42, and the former Cowboy Noah Brown, who of course caught that, bounced off the defender into his hands in that Hail Mary against the Bears, ranked number 88 amongst the wide receivers there. The veteran Zach Ertz, the former Eagle, at number 21. Commanders' defense special teams is at number 11, while their offensive line is at number 18. So it looks like the Commanders are pretty much set for yet another great year, Flynn.
I wouldn't say that, or I wouldn't declare that right away because the league is, remember, Washington had a 4th place schedule last year. So, but I do think that they're going to put the rest of the league is going to play a lot tougher on them. So it is going to be interesting how they're going to respond to that. So I'm not necessarily going to crown them yet, but but for a team like Washington, I think it's knowing what they have. And Jaden Daniels, I think he's going to take on, I think, a bigger role in this offense, and I think it's going to show in some of the fantasy results that come out of this.
Michelle, your thoughts on the Commanders?
Yeah, this team played totally beyond expectations this past season. I mean, I had them finishing in last place, but boy, was I dead wrong. And yeah. A lot of people may want to call it a fluke, but I don't think this is a fluke. I think that they're the real deal. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have another repeat performance.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they finish second in the division behind Philly. Because they got a pretty darn good team right there. Looking pretty good from top to bottom. So now that we've taken a look at the fantasy numbers for the main fantasy players, let's go to the schedule. Starting with the Cowboys. They finished 7-10 last year. Missed out on playoffs. And pretty interesting way to start the season. Their bye week is in week 10. They start on opening night, the first game of the regular season, the Thursday night opener at Philadelphia. Then they're at home against New York, on the road in Chicago, home against Green Bay. Then they go to New York to take on the Jets. They go to Carolina against Panthers. Then they are home against the Commanders. Then they're on the road to the Broncos, and then they're at home against the Cardinals before they take their Week 10 bye week. And I'm going to tell you right now, for these first 2 games, I got 2 question marks. I got a question mark with their game in Chicago against the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a question mark on the road at Denver in week 8. because that Denver team with Bo Nix leading the way last year, they looked pretty darn good.
Mm.
Arizona, I think I could count that as a win. On the road in Arizona, of course, Cowboys really kind of had troubles getting wins on the road. Well, they did, but they couldn't win at home last year. So, actually, I see the Eagles sweeping the Cowboys this year, and I'm almost borderline to say that maybe the Commanders could sweep the Cowboys. I mean, there's a strong possibility, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to have the Cowboys and Commanders splitting their series, home team winning. And I'm actually going to say a split with the Giants. I can see the Cowboys splitting their series with the Giants with the home team winning each game. But this schedule after the bye week, it looks brutal. I mean, they're at Las Vegas. Home against the Eagles, that's a loss. Home against Kansas City, that's going to be a loss. On the road in Detroit, that's going to be a loss. Home against Minnesota, I might take that as a win. But just to see how J.J. McCarthy does in his first full season at quarterback there. Home against the Chargers, I could see that as a win. So right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 wins right now.
Mm.
I got maybe 3 question marks now. Las Vegas, Denver, and the Bears. So tentatively, right now, the Cowboys over under for wins is 7.5. I've got 7 wins right now. 3 question marks. So that's how I see it.
Mm. I have 8, so I have them. I have just over.
Just over with 8.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say, Flynn?
Yes, I mean, I'm this that when I recalibrate the schedule and a couple of and the win loss guesses, it'll be over. But right now, I have them under 7 because I have them getting swept by Philly and splitting, winning with Washington and the Giants splitting those season series with the home team winning all those games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I think you look at that stretch, weeks 12 through 16, all against and really week 17 as well, because that 6 game stretch against teams that all won 10 games last year, all made the
Yeah.
playoffs. I mean, talk about a gauntlet of a schedule.
Oh, yeah. Started at home against the Eagles on November 23rd. And then the Thanksgiving game against Kansas City. On the road to Detroit. Home against Minnesota. Home against the Chargers. And wrap it up on the road in Washington and New York. So, yeah, if they could... that stretch you're talking about, weeks 12 through 16... If they could get at least 3 of those wins, I would definitely be very extremely impressed.
Yeah.
But it's going to be kind of a rough one right here.
Yeah, so, but I wouldn't overlook the Arizona Cardinals or the Denver Broncos at all. So, just yeah, so it's nonetheless a difficult schedule, really, for the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the schedule for your New York Football Giants. Uh,
And you're muted.
honored hoping to get here. Anyway, you mentioned Giants probably get swept by the Eagles, but they'll probably split their series with the Cowboys and Commanders.
I mean, yeah, if one's definitely more optimistic than I am, I have the Giants being swept by both the Cowboys and the Eagles. No matter how, the Giants can never beat the Cowboys, no matter what they do.
Oh, well,
The
they
Giants always
haven't
choke at the last minute.
well,
I
I'm
mean,
kind of thinking things
the,
differently.
yeah, yeah, and the Giants haven't beaten Dak since his rookie season.
Yeah.
It's almost 10 years ago right there.
Yeah, and the only time they did beat the Cowboys, Andy Dalton was the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when Dak was injured for a little while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Swept by the Commanders and split with the Cowboys. Then you got what we got Kansas home against Kansas City. I don't see that.
I mean the Giant that defensive line against Kansas City suspect offensive line, and Patrick Mahomes has not done well when he's had bad offensive lines in front of him. So I could see the Giants knocking off the Chiefs that night because that's something that it's usually a random thing you see. So I could see them beating Kansas City. I could see them beating San Francisco, and I think San Francisco they're still
Whoa.
trying to get their things together. Yeah, but right now, I think right now I have the Giants right as 6 or 7 win team. Now, obviously, that could adjust between now and the start of the season, but I do think the Giants are going to be better than people think.
Wow.
I really do. I mean, because
True.
you have somewhat competent quarterback play compared to what you and what you had last year. So
Wow. You're way more optimistic than I am. I only have 5 wins. I have their wins being the Chargers, the Saints, the Bears, the Patriots, and the Raiders.
Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me really go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 wins for the Giants this year.
Wow.
Maybe a change the quarterback would do them some good. So
We'll see what happens.
I got them at 7-10 this year, so I'm going to take the over on that one.
Wow. I like your guys' optimism. We'll see. I'm keeping it real. I only have 5 wins here.
All right, then we'll see what happens. Eagles. Of course, they won the Super Bowl last year.
Yep.
With a record of 14-3. Looks like of course they'll beat the Cowboys in the first week. That they're on the road against Kansas City. Now that is an interesting game. Eagles and Chiefs, and of course Flynn mentioned some of Patrick Mahomes' inconsistencies there.
Yeah.
So that
go on.
I could probably see the Eagles winning that one. Going on the road to Kansas City. Home against the Rams, I see that as a win. Tampa Bay, that's going to be a win. Denver. Minnesota. Week 10. Week 10. That's when the Eagles travel to Green Bay. That's a Monday nighter too.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of juice with that game because of the tush push, the Packers being the architect behind the push to ban the tush push. So it's going to be very interesting that Monday night in Green Bay.
So right now, I've got for the first 8 games, I've got Philadelphia winning all their games, but the Minnesota game on the road at Minnesota, kind of undecisive on that one right there.
Yeah. So I have a loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Same.
in week
Ooh,
4
I do too.
ooh,
because the Eagles traditionally don't play well in Tampa.
Mhm.
all right. And the Week 17 game, Philly at Buffalo. That would be now. It's a 3:25 game right now. It'll be a 4:25 game on the East Coast, but I would not be surprised if they want to flex that out to prime time, because that looks like a prime time matchup to me.
So I think so. Whoever's doing that game is already protecting that game, so that's not going to go into prime time. It's a Sunday night,
Okay.
but
Eagles at Buffalo. I'm going to have to put a big question mark on that one.
Yeah, that's my
I,
question mark too.
I have that as a loss for the yeah, I don't have my laptop running right now, but I have that as a loss. I know I have that as a loss for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh. So right now, it looks like I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right now, I've got 14 wins.
Mm.
I currently have 10.
Yeah, I have right now. I have 11. The Bills I'm back and forth on right now. As of right now, I have Bills as a loss. But if I change my mind to a win, then it's 12.
Uh-huh.
So I'm right in the borderline. I'm right between 11 and 12.
11, 12 there. So see how that works. Now we go to the Commanders. They went 12-5 last year. They lost the NFC Championship game to the Eagles. Starting out, they are at home against the Giants, which I see is a win there. On the road to Green Bay, I could probably see a win there. Home against the Raiders, I could see a win there. Atlanta, I don't know. I don't know about Atlanta. Chargers in week 5, they're on the road there. I could probably see that as a win. Probably, I could probably see the Commanders maybe beating the Bears. They will lose on the road to Dallas. They will lose on the road to Kansas City. Home against Seattle, maybe. Detroit is a loss. Miami is on NFL Network. So it's a win there. What's it? I'm just also win there. Ooh. Lost. Okay, so right now I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right now I see 8 wins for the Commanders, but I've got a few question marks, including on the road in Atlanta, home against Seattle, home against Miami, then home against Denver, and at Minnesota. Kind of indecisive on those. So what do you have, Seth?
I'm counting mine. I'm actually right around. I have right around 8 or 9 actually myself.
8 or 9.
Ooh, man. Ooh, maybe I'm overthinking the Washington here. Maybe they're not a playoff team this season.
Yeah. And also remember, there's usually one team that makes the championship Sunday the previous year that doesn't make the playoffs. So
Yeah.
Washington's a serious candidate for that. And I have Washington, by the way, only winning 7 games.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I got 8 or 9. All of us have the under. Yeah, this is crazy. I have everybody as the under except for Dallas.
yeah. Right now, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got right now. I got 8 wins, and I have a few question marks. Just have to keep an eye on the Commanders and their opponents, what they're going to use. So I've got 8 wins right now. So
So wait, what's everybody's line now? I have 1 over and 3 unders.
I have only one over, and that's the Giants.
Oh wow.
1, 2,
So
3,
what's
4,
so Tim? What are your
5,
stats?
6. I got right now. I think Cowboys. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I might be over on the Cowboys slightly.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little bit over on the Giants.
2 and 0. Okay.
Probably very much over on the Eagles. And
You're in the
1,
opposite
2, 3,
direction.
4.
3 overs, 1 under.
And I think I'm taking the over with the Commanders.
Oh, you got the over also?
Yeah, I think so far.
Hmm.
But of course, we know a lot can happen between now and the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically our preview of the NFC East. Unfortunately, I don't think I've gotten any response from Alex Putnam as of yet. So I think he may be going on with a little something. I'm not sure, but the invitation is still out there. I accidentally sent him a link to his personal Facebook. So, well, what do you know? Perfect timing. It's time for trivia, folks. And if I'm not mistaken, each one of us has a question for this evening. So, I guess I can go first here because I've actually got the question right here, and this is gonna be interesting. I think you guys might get this one. So here's my question. We'll put it on the screen here. Which quarterback has thrown the most touchdown passes in the Cowboys-Giants rivalry? There is a minimum of 20 games played. So basically, in the history of the Cowboys-Giants rivalry, which quarterback has thrown the most touchdown passes with a minimum of 20 games played?
Okay.
So that's my question there.
No, Natalie, what's your question?
I gotta pull mine up. I want to make sure I'm wording it properly. So you do yours first. Do yours next.
Okay.
I'm logging my computer first.
Okay, so this will be a subject as part of the when we preview the AFC East in a little bit, but Devon Achane was one of 2 running backs last season that had the most touchdown receptions among running backs with 6. So my question to you is, well, who else had 6 receiving touchdowns last season as a running back?
Running backs with receiving touchdowns. That's a good question.
Yeah, so Devon Achane is one. Who is the other?
Okay. All right, let me go to my history here. Yeah, my question though has nothing to do with the topic at hand, but let me try to get back into this. See if I could find what I'm looking for. Okay. Okay, yeah. I was just looking at last year's statistics out of curiosity. There is one team in the top that finished in the top 5 in all 3 categories of offensive leaders. That's in total yards, passing, and rushing. One team finished in the top 5 in all 3 of those categories. Which team is that?
Wow.
Wow. Alrighty then. Well, I guess since when you think about the answers to these very thought-provoking questions, why don't we go ahead and switch gears and talk about the AFC East, starting with the Buffalo Bills with the reigning MVP Josh Allen ranked third among fantasy quarterbacks, with James Cook and Ray Davis as running backs at 12 and 56 respectively. With the wide receiver three of Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Joshua Palmer. Dalton Kincaid, 17 among the tight ends. And the Bills are pretty much good on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Their defense and special teams ranked third, while the offensive line is ranked seventh. So it looks like if that team could stay healthy, they could probably take a stride at it to probably win the AFC East for another year, Flynn.
Yeah, and I think the Bills are clearly the best team of the division. I think you'll see that in the over-unders based on what Vegas says in a little bit. But the Bills' offensive line, I think, what was an underrated factor of why the Bills got to the championship game, because they conceded the fewest sacks of any team in the NFL last year. I mean, part of it had to do with Josh Allen's amazing scrambling ability, but they really did an outstanding job of protecting their quarterback. So that's what it is right there. Now James Cook, yeah, he finished number 6 among running backs last year, but a lot of it had to do with that after going each of his first 2 years with only 2 rushing touchdowns. That number was he took that to the 4th power last year. So he had 16 rushing touchdowns last year, which tied him for the league alongside Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs. But James Cook does not have a contract for next year. He is playing under a contract. So the question is he going to be thinking about the contract a lot and how's it going to impact him, or is he going to try and follow up a season like he had last year with it this year? So I think James Cook is one of the trickiest cases to predict for this upcoming season because we know what his talent is. So he had that, and also alongside the rushing touchdowns, he's probably going to be more. He was more dependent on rushing touchdowns for his fantasy value because he ranks just 16th in the NFL with 1,009 rushing yards a year ago. So which James Cook are we going to see in 2025? That's going to be a very interesting question. As we think about where we're going to rank James Cook on the trade stuff.
Okay, once again, having problems with the laptop, so it looks like we'll have to do this a little bit differently. Let me get back to that. We'll be talking about the Dolphins here in just a moment here. If I can get my if I can get this thing to work properly. Alright, let's get this thing up here. Come on, you guys. Come on, you son of a gun. Come on, work with me, babe. Alright, so I think I can't wait. I think we got that here. So why don't I try this here? Click on that. Telling you this is nuts. Sorry, folks, but it won't be too much longer before I get this one up. system here that I got from my landlady. It ain't gonna be too long till I get that up and going. I won't have to
Yeah,
worry about
yeah,
this.
and also one other thing from that list is that Khalil Shakir is ranked 38th, and Keon Coleman is ranked 44th on that list. So the question I'm wondering is which receiver has the better upside going into the season?
Now that will be a very interesting situation to see with the Buffalo receiving core up there.
Yeah, it's but I would have to think that Khalil Shakir is in for a big season because he caught near over 70% of his targets last year, and it really got him into a well-rounded role on that offense.
Right? Oh boy. So we're getting into I'm gonna try to get in here again. Okay, let's try this again. So we'll be talking about the Dolphins right now. See if we can get this screen up there. Got Tua Tagovailoa at 18 among fantasy quarterbacks. Devon Achane, number 5 among the running backs. Jalen Wright, the backup running backs at number 58. Then you got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Nick Westbrook Ikine at number 65, respectively. 13, 28, and 65 for the wideouts. John Smith is number 10 among fantasy tight ends. The defense and special teams for the Dolphins, that's 27. And the Dolphins' offensive line is pretty bad at number 30. So I think both sides of the ball is going to be a bit of a challenge for these Dolphins this year.
Yeah. So and I think I think as it's been the last four years, the big question is will Tua Tagovailoa be able to stay healthy? And I think that's really the bottom line here for the Dolphins because if Tua's healthy, that means much better production out of Devon Achane. So and in the games where Tua Tagovailoa played, Devon Achane averaged 22.6 fantasy points per game in PPR settings, which is pretty darn good. And you think about that in a much more increased role in the passing game for Achane. That he had 78 receptions and 592 receiving yards to go alongside the 6 touchdowns that he had, which of course is the subject of the trivia question that I have for tonight. So you have that. And then the question is how much is Tyreek Hill starting to go on a decline a little bit? So that's going to remain to be seen what the Miami Dolphins can still get out of him.
All right. So that's a very good look at Dolphins there. I guess I'm just going to have to read off the rest of here. Talking about the let's see, the New England Patriots. We have Drake May ranked number 19 among the quarterbacks. Trayvon Henderson at number 30. Ramondre Stevenson at 34 among the running backs. Stephon Diggs, wide receiver 1, is at 53. Kyle T. Williams at number 64, and Demario Douglas at number 68 for the wide receivers. Their tight end Hunter Henry is ranked number 16 among tight ends. Patriots have the 31st ranked defense and special teams and the 23rd ranked offensive line. So, Stephon Diggs is coming over to the Patriots earlier this year, I think. So you're looking at New England, and what are you looking at?
Go ahead, Natalie.
I was gonna say, I mean, he hopes the offense just a little bit, but not very much. There's a minor improvement, but I think the defense and everything else was still pretty bad.
What do you say, Flynn?
I think you look at the Patriots. The Patriots could be a sneaky contender for the playoffs because because you have a massive upgrade at head coach. You have of course a big upgrade in coordinators and of course having a beefed up defensive line, bringing in someone like Milton Williams from Philadelphia to bolster that defensive line. That's really gonna bode well for the Patriots. But now I want to see it to believe it. Now, and now I also do think that Trevion Henderson is going to have a 2 to 3 down workload by the end of the season. So I think Trevion Henderson, if you're thinking of drafting Trevion Henderson, make sure you put him on your bench because I think and then let his fantasy value grow to the point where where he could be someone you can put into your starting lineup at the worst case scenario as a good flex option.
Yeah, let's look at the roster for this year's Patriots. And now for the New York Football Jets. We have Justin Fields, the starter there, ranked number 11 among quarterbacks. Breece Hall, number 20 amongst the running backs, which I'm kind of thinking maybe Breece Hall will have a bounce back year with Braylon Allen as his backup at number 54. Then you got the wide receiving core of Garrett Wilson, Josh Reynolds, and Alan Lazard, ranked 18, 77, and 83 respectively. Young tight end Mason Taylor comes in at number 26 among the tight ends, and Jets defense is at 23. Jets offensive line is at 25. So Justin Fields, new head coach. I mean, the new quarterback for the Jets. Is there any upside?
I don't see it. I don't see the hype. I mean, they look slightly better, but I don't think he's going to add much.
Okay, Flynn?
I mean, I would not sleep on Garrett Wilson at all this season because remember, Garrett Wilson has some added chemistry with Justin Fields because when Garrett Wilson started at Ohio State, Justin Fields was finishing up there. So there's the Ohio State element I think is there. I also wouldn't sleep on Braylon Allen at all because I actually found another piece of trivia which I could have put to a trivia question, but I did not. But Braylon Allen has 334 career rushing yards, because all of them as a rookie last year, all before the age of 21, and that is an NFL record. So I would not rest my laurels on Braylon Allen, especially if Breece Hall has to miss some time due to injury. And I think there was some encouragement from there last year. So I think that this Jets running game could actually be pretty darn good this year. Now we want to see the Jets offensive line gel. The Jets use their first round pick on a tackle this year, which I think made so much sense. Based upon what Aaron Glenn wanted in an offensive line, knowing what he had in Detroit and how good those lines were. So I wouldn't necessarily sleep on those top four guys on the graphic for the Jets.
Could be an interesting time for them. Meanwhile, we got our buddy Dashy joining in. How you doing, Dashy? Good to have you, bro. Hope you're doing good. And he brought up a interesting thing here. Jets have not won division title since 2002, so it has been quite some time.
Yeah, they haven't made the playoffs in 14 years, the longest drought of any team in the NFL.
All right. So we go into that one here. So that's pretty much how the rosters look there. As far as the we'll remove that. And now let's see if I can somehow get these schedules up for the AFC East. This thing is really getting to be a pain in the rear end, I gotta tell you. So let's see if we can get the AFC schedule up there on the screen. I was taking a look at the Bills schedule here, and it seems to me that it's very kind of favorable here. I actually have them beating the Ravens in Buffalo. Of course, that's going to be the battle of first and second place MVPs. That's going to be the Sunday night game right there. Then they're on the road to the Jets, which I see as a victory. Home against the Dolphins. Actually, tell you the truth, I have them going 6-0 before their bye week in week 7. Then I got them winning at Carolina. What do I do with my pen? There it is. With that suspect Kansas City defense, I could see a win there. And then at Miami, see a win there. Versus Cincinnati, at Pittsburgh. Let's go. Actually, I'm looking at this here, kind of thinking about this. Now, of course, this could all change, but I only see the Bills losing only 3 games this year.
Same here. Funny enough, I have them, all their losses come at home.
I have them losing on the road at Pittsburgh week 13, losing at home against the Bengals in week 14, and then at home against the Eagles week 17. Other than that, I have a win, so they're got 3 losses. So I'm definitely taking the over for the Buffalo Bills. Of course, the over-under is at 11.5. I'm taking the over on that one.
My 3 losses are the Ravens, the Bucks, and the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have the over as well for the Buffalo Bills, but I have them losing 4 games, including the season opener at home against the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, I also have the Bills losing in I know I have them losing in Atlanta, and I also have them losing against the Texans. I just want to see what my other loss is.
Yeah. All right. So I'm taking the over on that one. Dolphins schedule here. Miami will lose both games to Buffalo. I could probably see Miami splitting the series with the Jets.
Yeah.
With both teams winning at home. And then the Patriots, I could see Miami winning at home against New England, but they'll probably lose on the road in Foxborough. Then we got the Colts. After the Colts, I could probably see a win there on the road. And let's see, Carolina. They see them losing there. They'll win in Cleveland. They'll probably lose at Atlanta. Lose at Pittsburgh. Versus Cincinnati. That's a home game, but that's a loss there. I'd probably see winning Tampa Bay. So right now, with the over-under being 8.5 wins, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins. And I got 1, 2, 3. I got 4 question marks here. Home against the Chargers in week 6, then home. Baltimore, they'll probably lose that one at home, so that's another one there.
Yeah, and that's on a short week as well. So
Right.
and given the roster depth of Baltimore, that bodes well for them, for the Ravens.
So I got 5. So it looks like I may have to take. I'm maybe taking the under on this one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I have the under also. I have like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to be dreadful this year. I really do.
Yeah, with all apologies to our friend Alex Putnam.
Yeah, and I mean like the commentary that's been coming out of Miami's minicamp, I think it's got to be pretty alarming about the accountability culture and the lack thereof. Now, for the moment, I have the Dolphins winning 7 games, and now I have my schedule things back up. So I had them splitting against the Patriots and the Jets and getting swept by Buffalo. My road wins are against home wins against Cincinnati, New Orleans, and Washington. And my only other road win, they go 2-6 on the road, winning at Cleveland and at Atlanta. Yeah, and also going back to Buffalo, the 4 losses I have for Buffalo are home against Baltimore and Tampa Bay, and at New England and at Atlanta.
Okay.
So that's that.
Okay. So now we go to the New England Patriots. They have 7-5 for their over/under.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
This is against Miami, but they'll win at home against Miami, I see. I can see them to lose against. I see the Patriots getting swept by the Bills. See a split with the Dolphins, and then maybe a split with the Jets.
Yeah, I have the Patriots splitting the season series with each of their rivals in the division.
Me too. Yeah, I have that. I have that also.
Yeah, and then the current wins I have is home against Cleveland, Atlanta, Carolina, and then beating Pittsburgh to get the tiebreaker for the playoff, for the seventh and final wild card spot, in that, and then at Tennessee and at New Orleans.
Yeah, I have the same exact one as you, except for the Steelers. I have them beating the Raiders.
Yeah, I haven't beaten the Raiders at home in week 1.
Yeah.
Home against the Steelers. That doesn't look too good for me. I have to put as a loss there.
I mean that Patriots Raiders game is such an intriguing matchup because I think both teams massively improved this offseason. And you got Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel coaching those two teams.
Oh yeah,
so that's gonna be such an underrated matchup in week number 1.
Mm.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I think all of us have 8 wins.
I got 8 wins for the Patriots, so I'm taking the slight over.
Yeah, I have the Patriots at 9.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Patriots is 9, so that's an over for them. Now we go to the Jets schedule.
Yeah.
Kind of
and right now I have them splitting with Miami and New England. I have them getting swept by the Buffalo Bills. My road wins right now for the Jets are at Cincinnati, at New Orleans, and at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh.
And then I have them winning at home against the Falcons and the Browns.
So it looks like you have the over then.
Yeah.
Let's see, let me check mine. I'm going to do a count here. Lose, win. Yeah, I think the Jets will split with everybody. And then let's see. Panthers.
Okay. I've got 1, 2, 3. I got 5 wins for the Jets. I've got them winning at Miami. I've been winning at home against Carolina, home against Cleveland, then on the road at New Orleans, and at home against New England.
Yes, so I have the over for the Bills, the Patriots, and the Jets, and I have the under for the Dolphins, and and I know when I do my recalibration, it's going to be even further under for the Miami Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins are going to be that good this year.
No, me neither. Yeah, I have the Jets and the Patriots both with 8 wins, but I think the Patriots own the tiebreaker. Whatever the next tiebreaker would be, that part I don't know.
The division record.
Wait a minute, I gotta recalibrate this now. Let's see. Okay, I have them splitting. I have the Jets and the Patriots and the Jets splitting with each other, and them also splitting with the Dolphins. That's the only problem I'm having trying to figure this out.
Yeah, and then what do you have against Buffalo?
Buffalo, I have them going 14-3.
They're going.
I'm asking the Jets and the Patriots. How do you have them faring up against the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, both of them win once.
Oh God.
Patriots and Jets both win a game against Buffalo.
Okay, conference records.
Oh boy, this is tough to figure out.
I mean that could be a conversation for a later time then, but
yeah, if I had to make a call right now, I'm going to put the Patriots in second place.
Yeah, me too. I would put that too because that's what I have.
Then the Jets, then the Dolphins.
Saying Jets could actually have a better season than those Dolphins, huh?
Yeah,
Yes, but not a postseason team though. Yeah, I would doubt it.
right. I don't. I mean, it's gonna be difficult for the Jets to make the playoffs in this conference, but
Yeah, same for the Patriots too, for that matter. Despite them being a second place team.
Yeah. That'll be an interesting thing right there.
Yeah, because that AFC is loaded.
Yeah, they are. So, I think Dashy mentioned something. He said, think game to look forward is Week 14 Bills-Bengals. Joe Burrow has never lost to Josh Allen.
yeah. The game I'm most looking forward to for the Bills is Week 1 against the Ravens because I actually think with the way I have the win-loss things going, I have that as the game that will determine the 1 seed in the AFC.
Ooh. That is going to be one hell of a match. It's Sunday night on NBC, so first Sunday night game of the season, big one. Bills and Ravens right there, so I guess that is a look at the AFC schedule and the AFC East right there. So I guess before we wrap up, we got to figure out some answers to our questions.
Mm-hmm.
So my question, of course, was let's move that here. We will go back to back over to this section here. If I can get this thing to cooperate with me, or I could just do this way here. So once again, my question was, in the history of the Cowboys-Giants rivalry, which quarterback has thrown the most touchdowns with a minimum of 20 games played?
Yeah, I am so tempted to say E-Man, but I really don't think it's him.
It's
Eli.
I feel like it's Eli because some of those crazy back and forth games with. So, but the thing is, I don't think Momo has enough games to qualify for this question. So
yeah, you might have a point there.
Okay, I can.
Yeah, we're not including playoffs, are we? Are we including playoff games or no?
I think it's regular season only.
Gotcha.
I should have made that clear to. I should have made that clear to you. I'm sorry about that.
I figured that's where you went. I just wanted to make sure.
I mean, they only met once in the playoffs, and that was in 07, so which would be a boost for Eli and Momo.
Right. Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, Eli played longer. He played in that longer time frame. Yeah. Oh, that time frame. Yeah, I think it's got to be E-Man. I'm gonna go with Eli Manning.
And I think another thing too is Aikman only played 12 years, Staubach only played 12 years, and Dak doesn't have is only played and hasn't played enough yet.
Wait. Oh well, let's try. That's right. We gotta go back in time a little bit. Troy Aikman might actually be a possibility. Because think about all those years that he played. Wait, no, I'm going back. I'm piggybacking. I'm discarding Eli. I'm going with Troy Aikman.
And
Troy
Aikman says,
I'm locking in Eli Manning.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not second guessing myself, but I'm going to go with Troy Aikman.
I'm sorry, Natalia, but you are second guessing. It was Eli Manning.
Check on my gut instincts.
Eli Manning. He played a total of 30 regular season games against the Cowboys, and he threw a total of 53 touchdowns. 53 touchdowns in 30 games played with the New York Football Giants. So, yeah, the answer was Manning. Now, second place on the list with 23 games played Phil Simms with 34 touchdowns. Then after him is Tony Romo, who played 20 games, and he threw 41 touchdowns. Troy Aikman played in 22 games and threw 19 touchdowns. Now
remember that's how it was all those games that were dominated by Emmitt Smith.
Right,
including that crazy game in '93 for the game for the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the '93 the cold shoulder game.
Yeah,
I remember that. Now, believe it or not, Dak Prescott has only played 15 games against the Giants, but he's already got 29 touchdowns against them.
Yeah, I mean that's not. I mean, you can't say you're surprised, right?
Yeah. Because, of course, that boy's got an arm. So. All right, so whose question we're going to try to answer next?
Yeah, I guess we'll continue the same order. Go with yours next, Flynn.
Okay, so we talked about Devon Achane and his increased role in the passing attack and how it could lead to how it led to him being successful last year. So Devon Achane was one of 2 running backs that led NFL running backs with 6 receiving touchdowns last year. Who is the other?
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, Devon Achane was one.
You're talking about the answer is coming from the division that we talked about, right?
The answer is outside the divisions we talked about tonight.
Oh, ooh. Threw me a curveball here.
Oh yeah.
So the other running back that has 6 passing touchdowns this past season.
Receiving touchdowns.
Receiving touchdowns. Running backs have receiving touchdowns this year. Now it's outside of the teams that we talked about, so we can eliminate 2 divisions. We got 6.
So that means Saquon is out, Breece Hall is out.
Yeah, James Cook is
Tyrell
out.
Tracy's out.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Gotta think of people who are involved in the passing game and stuff like that.
Right. JJ. Okay. I've got an answer.
Okay, what do you got?
Oh, Henry. Yeah, I'm going with Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is what is what Timmy's going for in the tally.
Oh, jeez. Kind of rattle up some people up here. I'm tempted to say Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's been involved in the passing game a few times.
That's a good name.
I'm trying to look at some names here. I mean, it's definitely not Christian McCaffrey. It's not Kenneth Walker. Ooh, could be him maybe. ETN maybe. Chiefs running backs? No.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Joe Mixon? No. Jonathan Taylor? No. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay, so we have Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs for the answers, right? So last year Derrick Henry had 2 receiving touchdowns. Alongside his 16 rushing touchdowns, which led the NFL. So Jahmyr Gibbs it was tied for 3rd in the NFL with 4 receiving touchdowns.
Not too far off. I'll take it. I wasn't that far off.
This is such a tricky name that you never thought about it because he was benched at some point last year. Rachaad White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 6.
Oh, Rachaad White. Damn.
Yeah. Other running backs that had an ample amount of receiving touchdowns. Chase Brown had 4. Breece Hall, Rico Dowdle, Ray Davis, Amir Abdullah, Justice Hill, Cam Akers, and Ty Johnson each had 3.
I didn't even think Rico Gallo would have
And,
any there.
and then running backs or fullback and a fullback with 2 receiving touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, James Cook, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Kyle Juszczyk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that.
Yeah. That was a very good question there. Now we just need to answer Natalie's question.
Yeah, mine was kind of just one on the fly here. It has nothing to do with the show at all, but I was just kind of curious. I was looking at the NFL stat leaders from last season. There's one team that's in the top 5 in all 3 categories of offensive leaders. That's in total yards, passing, and rushing. This is all per game. One team is in the top 5 in all 3 of those categories. Which team is that?
Oh wow.
Well, the obvious answer would be the Philadelphia Eagles, but
So that would be an obvious one too, but that was such a Saquon Barkley was so unbelievable last year that it really wasn't until the NFC Championship game where Jalen Hurts became the pocket passer that he needed to be to get the Eagles over the hump. So, let's see. But what are you thinking about Baltimore, Tim? Is it too run heavy for you?
Baltimore might be a possibility. But I'm kind of leaning toward a team that we talked about tonight. I'm kind of leaning toward the Washington Commanders.
Natalie said he came with the question on the fly, so we can't have that division talk in as reliable. So
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you guys this. I'll help you guys out here a little bit. It's a team. Hold on. Let me see. It's a team we did not talk about on this show today.
Okay,
Forget about the East. Nobody from the East.
So that knocks out Philly, Washington, and Buffalo. So it's got to be either the Ravens or the Lions, right, Tim?
And the Lions, of course, had a great offense for the last 2 years.
They have an elite running back. They have the elite running back duo. They have an elite wide receiver and a great passing game with Allen St. Brown and Sam Laporta. So, and I think the Lions had a couple of crazy games last season where they went off on offense. So, I'm leaning towards the Lions here. So I'm going to go with the Lions.
I think Flynn has convinced me a little bit with all the talk about the great players that they have on their defense. I too am going to go with those Detroit Lions.
All right, you guys are going with the Lions.
Yeah.
Fantastic guess. They were in the top 5 in 2 out of the 3 categories.
Ooh.
Oh.
They were number 2 in both total yards and number 2 in the passing game, but they were not in the top 5 in the rushing category. The team that's in the top 5 in all 3 categories, believe it or not, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Whoa!
Oh,
Wow!
The Buccaneers were number 3 last season in total yards of offense, 399.5. They were also number 3 in the passing game, 250.4, and number 4 in rushing in 149.2. The Lions were number 2 in both total yardage and in the passing game. But let me see where they ranked in the rushing department. Let me click on View All here and see. See how close you guys.
Looking at that, those that stretch of games down the stretch where they just carved up weaker competition, really helped out the Bucks there.
Yeah, you guys were super
Oh.
close. In the category where the Lions didn't make it, they were number 6. You guys were super close.
Whoa. Well.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came up as a trivia answer for twice tonight.
Wow. I didn't expect that to happen.
If the Lions had 7 more yards, you guys would have been correct. You guys were 7 yards short.
7 yards short. Oh,
wow.
My goodness.
It says the Lions passing was 2,488. Packers right above them, 2,496.
Oh.
You guys were 1 pass away from being correct. You guys almost had it.
All right.
1 pass away.
Oh.
All right.
That's what I like about these questions. We always learn something here.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope we kind of learned something about the AFC East and NFC East going into this season. Of course, we still got training camp coming up here in about a month or so.
Oh, wait. I should have listed the number 1. I didn't give the number 1. Let me go back for a second. I think I forgot to say that. Let me see. Because you guys did talk about the Ravens. You guys mentioned the Ravens before. I think they were on a list. Yeah, the Ravens, let's see. Yeah, the Ravens were number 1 in the yardage, 3,189. Let me see if I could re-pull this up. I have the large version.
When having Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry on the same team, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see if I could re-pull this up. The Ravens had the best offense, 424.9 yards per game. In the passing game, the Bengals were actually number 1.
So, makes sense because it makes sense because they had Burrow and they had to play a lot of shootouts.
Yeah, and the Lions were also second in that category, like I mentioned before.
Right.
I'm not sure if you guys mentioned 49ers at all, but 49ers were number 4 in the first 2 categories.
Yeah, Brock Purdy had something to do with that.
Brock Purdy was a great deal, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about Brock Purdy and the other quarterbacks in the West next week.
That's right, folks. As you can see down here on the ticker right there, our next show, 7 nights from tonight, we're heading west. Or this west or this west? I don't know, but we're going to talk about the AFC West, NFC West, part 4 of our series there. So, y'all be sure to check us out next week. We'll talk about those teams. Hopefully, there may be some more news coming up. Maybe some more contracts. Hopefully, might be signed. We mentioned some of those, I think it was last week or the week before. Players still looking for contracts. Maybe they get signed in the next week or so. Maybe not. I don't know. But that's just the business of the NFL, I guess. So, anyway, with that, I think we're going to wrap up this edition of Fantasy Football Fever. Thank you guys for joining me again. Glenn, of course, has Hooked on Sports. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple iTunes, tune in, anywhere you find your podcasts. So be sure to listen to him. Thank you so much, John Natali, for joining us this week. Hopefully we'll do it again next week, talk about the West. So everyone, we'll be back next Friday night. So y'all enjoy the weekend, enjoy the rest of the week. And so with that, for John Natali, for John Flynn, I'm Tim McClellan. Thanks for joining us, everyone. God bless you all. And as always, be a good sport. See ya.